To say, I mean, look, Scott's lying, and that's the problem with the Republican Party. It is continually addicted to lies.
Wait a minute. What am I lying
You're
about?
Lying. You're lying. You're lying, Scott. You're lying about the law. You're lying about what the jury was charged to find. They don't have to find an underlying crime. They had to find the intent to cover up an underlying crime. And the underlying crime was pretty obvious.
What was the crime?
You ran for public office, Scott. You ran for public office, Scott. You know you can't take money from somebody and reimburse them if it's a campaign
I've
expense.
never run.
You
I've
know
never
that
run for
damn
public
well.
office.
And okay, fine. Well, you're close enough. You're involved in politics to know that. Okay, so that's the problem with the Republican Party, is that they are suffused with lies. I don't know why this network is paying Scott to say those lies.
Whoa, okay. Let's not go there, George, please.
But Joe Biden let go of power. Donald Trump incited an attack on the Capitol to hold on to.
No, I mean, I think of you think of the scene in Hamilton where Washington says, "I'm going to say goodbye." I mean, it was really touching and moving, and it shows the difference.
Mm.
To be in politics, you have to have a certain amount of narcissist in you. Okay, you have to believe in yourself. I mean, narcissism is a spectrum. There's just the extreme form that Trump has that basically causes you to lie, steal, cheat, do whatever it takes to get ahead. But then there's regular everyday narcissism that you have to have just to get by. Like, I have to believe, we're gonna this podcast is gonna come out nice and people are gonna be happy with it, even though some people won't. Right? You have to have a positive outlook.
Yeah.
And Joe Biden, he believed he could win. And that's because that's just Joe Biden's makeup. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he listened to people and realized it's not about him.
Yeah.
And that was, that's for a guy like him, that's he spent 50 years in public life, and 50 years, you have to have a desire to have people like you. You have to run for public office at that young age when he ran in Delaware, and to stay in the Senate, and then to be vice president, to do all these things.
There's
just
so much
exhausting to think about. You have to be you have to have that personality that wants to take everything on. But at the same time, you want somebody who understands at the end of the day, it's not about them. And that's what we want in a public servant. And that's why, what Joe Biden did was so touching and moving and inspiring that, despite he really did believe. And I think I can't say he was wrong.
Yeah.
They are, I think he could have won this election.
Yeah.
And so it was difficult for me as someone who was not as much of a Biden stan as you, but who admires Biden's character and the fact that he was willing to step up in 2020 and what he has done to basically try to get our democracy and our government back on track, even if I disagree with some of the policies. I was moved by it.
Yeah.
So,
and it's the contrast.
And I wish him well, and I think history is going to be very kind to that man, and should.
I think he's saved.
Now, okay, I have dust in my eyes. I'm sorry.
Oh my God, I kind of live there. It's always this swing for me, this pendulum swing with him and with all of this. I cry every night pretty much, but I said he smells like.
No, we've been talking about it for the last few weeks. It's been rough.
And you're always you very gentle.
You're like, yeah, these people are attacking Biden and then I'm like, okay, well, I get it. I know why you feel that way, but they're both sides have points here.
So let's talk about it, George, because Donald Trump is psychopath, sociopath, narcissist.
He's a narcissistic sociopath. He's a malignant narcissist. He's a psychopath. He's just a general nut job. So I've been saying this for years, as you know.
Yeah.
And I finally got sick of the media basically ignoring it. I mean, that's how we ended up with weeks and weeks talking about Joe Biden and whether or not he's a little, he's slower than he was, and he slurs words, or he mistakes people for other people. Well, as we all do. I mean, obviously he's getting old, and Trump does it too, but somehow he skates. Because we're used to that. We're used to him. And not only that, it's like if you look at, there is some cognitive decline that occurs, obviously, after you reach age 10. And so we all we're all suffering from it. And of course, when you get to 80, 77, 8, 78, 79, 80, like these guys, it's obvious. And you can see it in Trump too, but we don't talk about Trump because we're used to Trump being just a complete lunatic and an idiot and a buffoon, talking about Revolutionary War airports 5 years ago and Clorox 3 years ago or 4 years ago. I mean, we're just used to that. And then all of a sudden, Joe Biden, people focus on Joe Biden. He has a bad night at the debate. I'm not saying that it wasn't correct for people to focus on his mental acuity and his ability to serve 4 more years. It's an absolutely legitimate concern for a president of the United States. The problem was it was only being applied to him.
Right.
And if you actually look at the two individuals and what they're starting with, not just base of knowledge, but just basically mental soundness, then there's no question that you'd vote. I'd vote for Joe Biden with his head in a formaldehyde jar before I'd vote before Donald Trump.